Have you ever been hypnotized? It's one of the really interesting things that do a lot of good. You'd be surprised. Here is Jack Hirsch. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, you did.
He is a hypnotist from Rochester, and he speaks and appears at functions everywhere, including all the viewing area of the station. But you have, I thought your eyes, when you looked at somebody's eyes, you'd go boom and they'd be out. But it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work quite that fast. We do have what we call the hypnotic gaze.
And everybody is hypnotized sooner or later. And you told me something I found fascinating, that you're hypnotized as you go to sleep.
That's right. In life, you're either awake or asleep or someplace in between. And hypnosis is that place in between. So you have to pass through hypnosis to go to sleep at night and then to wake up again in the morning. So everybody's been hypnotized. They just don't realize it.
Are you expensive?
I can be, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you, when you go to speak, you go to a group that hires you, and for a specific reason, they want to accomplish something through what you do. What do you do?
We've actually transitioned, our focus right now is going mostly towards corporate speaking. So I do keynote presentations for corporations.
What's keynote? What does that mean?
It means I go in and I open up, like they're having a big meeting, I'll give like an opening presentation. So I talk about visionary thinking and goal setting, and then I demonstrate using hypnosis all the key points that I make during my talk.
And what does that cost? Depends on?
Depends on how far I have to travel. It's starting rate's around $5,000 to go in and give a keynote presentation, and then it goes up from there.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Can you loan me money?
Yeah.
You can hypnotize policemen who want to charge you for the meter? No, it doesn't work that way.
The funny thing is, though, we were doing a show up in the Niagara Falls, New York area, and we decided we want to go across the border to just to Canada. And we got stopped by the Border Patrol, and they asked what we were doing. We had all of our sound equipment in the back of our car, and the Border Patrol officer asked us why we were going into Canada, and we said, we're just going in to visit. And she said, what's all the equipment? And my wife was driving. She says, well, he's an entertainer. And she says, oh, a singer? And I said, no, a hypnotist. She goes, don't look at me, go ahead and go right through. So just the idea of possibly being hypnotized has helped me out a couple times.
Is your wife traveling with you all the time?
She does. She actually runs the business. I'm the monkey on stage, and she runs the business.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
I started doing hypnosis 15 years ago.
Now, I have a question for you, because in the day, this goes, you won't remember this, but when I was growing up, there was only radio, there was no television. And there was a hypnotist named Ralph Slater who appeared every Sunday, and he would do this quick hypnosis, picking people from the audience to say, one, my name was Ralph Slater, two, my name, and then bingo, three, they'd be out. Was this a show, or did it really happen? It looked like, it was like Edgar Bergen.
I remember
Johnny
Edgar
McCarthy.
Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
A dummy on radio.
Doing hypnosis on radio, first of all, is a little weird to me, because to me it's a very visual experience, but it doesn't really happen that fast. It can happen in as quick as a minute. It can take up to 10 minutes to hypnotize a person, but that person was probably either a plant or you'd been pre-hypnotized before the show and then brought up in what we do, an instant induction after they've been hypnotized before.
You're a fascinating guy. You must have an unbelievably interesting marriage with hypnosis as part of it.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't let me inside her brain for the longest time when I first started learning hypnosis. But like I said, just before you fall asleep at night, you have to pass through hypnosis. And she was laying in bed one night, and I noticed her breathing started to shift to where she was starting to settle in. And I just leaned over and said, you know, donuts tomorrow morning would be really great. If somebody would just go get donuts in the morning, that would be really great. She got up in the morning and she goes, I think I want some donuts. Do you want any donuts? So she ran out and got donuts for us the next morning.
Has she forgiven you for this?
Yeah, she still brings it up every once in a while. She's not too happy about it.
You have a fascinating life.
It's very fascinating, yeah.
Now, how far do you travel?
Right now we're northeast, so all the way from, we were in Bangor, Maine not too long ago, all the way down to Philadelphia. So
you're on the road all the time?
Yes.
Oh, that must be fun. How do people contact you?
Website, jackhirsch.com.
H-I-R-S-H. And the phone?
585-224-6256. So it'll get you right to my wife, Dina.
Ask for Mrs. Hirsch. Dina.
Ask for Dina.
Dina.
Yeah.
Ask for Dina. And Dina's taking pictures of us.
She is.
She corroborates and puts down everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, she's going to put it all up on our website.
Really?
Yeah.
What a fascinating life you have. Now, when you do these things for corporations, do you actually take some members of the audience and hypnotize them right there?
Yes, I pull them right out of the audience, and that always makes people nervous when they first hear that I'm going to do hypnosis right there live. But put their minds at ease. I never humiliate anybody. I don't ask anybody to come up that doesn't want to come up. I do a couple simple suggestibility tests to find the best volunteers in the audience. Once I figure out who the best people are, I invite them to come down on stage and join me, and you'd be surprised. People are very willing to come down. And
You got a good voice.
I've developed it over the years. I had to learn how to speak a little bit softer. I used to speak very nasally and in my head, and I've learned to lower my voice a little bit. So.
When they heard you were coming, one of the people, this is the Chamber of Commerce building in Elmira that we're using for a moment, one of the Chamber of Commerce people came by and I said, you know, would you like to be hypnotized? And she said, oh no, she said, I don't want a bell ringing and making me crow, which is what her feeling was of hypnotism. But there's a lot more good things that come from hypnotism.
There is, yes. I started out as a clinical hypnotist, which means I would help people quit smoking, lose weight, get rid of fears and phobias, and I did that for a while and helped quite a few people, but I started seeing stage hypnotists, and that just really interested me, so I started learning how to go up on stage and do it for fun, and once I started having fun, I closed my office, and now we do the stage hypnosis and the corporate keynote speaking mostly. I don't really see anybody for clinical reasons anymore.
What a life you lead. This must be fascinating, and you're such a young person. Where did you learn how to hypnotize?
I've trained with a couple of the best guys in the world, really. For the clinical hypnosis, I trained with a guy by the name of Richard Nongard down in Dallas. And for the stage hypnosis, I learned that from Mark Savard, who's got one of the #1 shows on the Las Vegas Strip.
You ever done Vegas yet?
No, Vegas is pretty crowded, and I don't know if I...
Crowded with hypnotists.
There's probably 4 hypnotists within a mile of each other out there.
Really?
Yeah.
But they get big money.
They do get big money, but they have to pay big money. They've got a lot of overhead. I like touring around doing my keynote speeches. No overhead that way.
So you don't have compartments that people have to go in and other things that you do. You just do it regularly.
Right.
I say that because I don't know what I'm talking about, what regularly means. But put yourself in his hands. There's a phone call coming in now right away. Somebody must be asking for you. You ought to give him a ring. Try his website. Fascinating things, and he does so many good things in motivating corporate meetings, which is really the main part of your business now.
Yes, it is.
There's no hope for me. I'm unhypnotizable. I said that, but he said no. He said you can hypnotize anybody given a little time. We're going to try now. I'll be here. If you don't see me for a while, too bad.
Around Town with Henry Dormann will return in a moment.